Chica, how are y'all doing? I have ready for you guys something exciting. It's the digital version of the Phase 2 hCG Diet Workbook. Now, this is a book that I originally published as a hard copy book on Amazon in April 2015. That's this book right here. It's sold thousands of copies and it has almost 300 reviews on Amazon. But I've been wanting to create a digital version of the workbook, mainly so that you could buy it once and use it over and over and never have to buy it again. Most of us have to do more than one round of hCG to lose the weight we want to lose. So that time is now. It's finally ready, finally. I ran into a lot of snags getting this together, you guys, so it took way longer than I anticipated, but it's okay. I'm over it. We're here.
Hey there, quick testimonial regarding the hCG Chica's workbook. I love it. It helps keep me honest, especially when I have a hectic, crazy life. I am a nurse, so I'm constantly stressed out. I'm constantly running around. The workbook keeps me honest when my patients buy me ridiculous pastries and I have to stay on the hCG plan because when you fail on this plan, it is really hard to get back on track. Also, living with a boyfriend who eats whatever he wants to and never gains a pound, that's complicated. So using the book every day keeps me accountable. It keeps me accountable for staying on track. It reminds me of my progress because there's several different places to have a calendar. So you can set up all your goals, but also you can remind yourself like these are the days that I'm going to major events. You can prepare yourself, and then you've got your weight tracking and then your daily actual checklist itself. It just keeps you honest. So I highly recommend either buying the book or the PDF. PDF you can just reprint a million times. That sounds more practical, especially if you're doing multiple rounds. So highly recommended.
So we're going to cover two main areas today that are important so you kind of know what to expect and if this is for you or not. So first we're going to talk about the three main things that the digital version of the workbook allows you to do. And then after that, we'll talk about the 6 main sections of the workbook if you're not familiar with it and how each of them helps you while you're on phase 2, okay?
I used the workbook that she made, the hCG workbook. After, I looked at a couple of different ones online, and for one, it was priced really well and it's very visual. I just really love her and how she's so dedicated to teaching us about hCG. And the workbook was so easy to use. I'm one of those people that will start something and then never really kind of follow through on it like the workbook things, but I stuck through it and I did like 56 days or something like that. And it went far enough for me, so I got it all. And then I did the whole P3 part in there tracking, and it was so visual and so easy to use. And then when I did get bored with the everyday thing, I was able to change it up and go to the quick glance part where it's all done in just week blocks on the same page, and you can see like this is where I started and then right over here is where I am, and it was always really motivating to see how far I'd come so quickly. I would totally order the book again.
There are 2 versions of the digital workbook. So when you purchase the workbook, you're actually going to get access to 2 files. One is called the device version and one is called the printable version. You might already be getting an idea of what the difference is, but let me explain the difference between the 2 files. You get access to both of them with your purchase. That way you have options. The device version. What's special about that is that it is actually a fillable PDF, which means that you can be on your tablet or your phone and actually fill in the information, the fields, the check boxes. You can even write notes in there as long as you use it in an app that allows you to do that. And the free one that I know of is called the Adobe Acrobat Reader app. It's free. If you use the workbook in that app, you can fill all of the fields out for every day, for the quick glance, everything on your device. So you don't have to do any writing with a pencil or pen. So that's the biggest thing. The second thing is that you can read all the coaching articles on your device. I reformatted everything so the font is large enough to actually see without putting on your glasses. I don't know if a lot of you guys know this, but I have a really, really strong prescription. And thankfully, I live in a day and age where we have contacts because I pretty much look like a mole with my glasses on. Darling, how are you? Just a little mole come to visit you today. The point is, I made it so you can read it on your little phone. So that's the other thing. And then the last thing, of course, is that you can use the workbook over and over forever and ever. You can actually save a copy of the workbook when you're ready to do another round. So you don't have to lose the data from previous rounds. You just keep saving new copies of the workbook in the app so that you can, save the data from your previous rounds. With the device version, you can also read and highlight the coaching articles in the app, of course, and also all of the links to the many different resources and books that I discuss in the workbook, they're clickable. So you can click the links and you'll be taken straight there instead of having to try to remember some really super long URL. Now for the printable version. The printable version allows you to basically do what it says, print all of the different tracking pages. Everything's been condensed onto one page for each day so that you're not printing out, like 500 pages of information. You can print just the number of tracking pages that you need for your round. You can also print various coaching articles if you want. If you're the type that wants to sit on the couch with a real pieces of paper and a highlighter, you can do that as well. It's formatted so that things don't take up as much space. Whereas like the digital version, the coaching is now much longer because of course the font had to be enlarged and all that. So that's why each version is kind of very custom and allows you to have that flexibility to suit each purpose. And like I said, you get both with your purchase. So that way you can change it up, do one thing one round, do another thing another round, whatever. Just to reiterate, the three things I do this all the time. If you guys have watched any of my other videos, when I say 3 things, I put up 2 fingers. Really weird. Okay, so the 3 things that you can do with the digital version of the Phase 2 workbook is you get the device version, which means that everything you want to do with the workbook, you can do on a device. And then you get the printable version, which allows you to print anything out that you want. And then the third thing, which is that you get to use the workbook over and over to the end of time. So that it'll be yours forever. You won't have to purchase it again. And yeah, that's it.
This is my video about the workbook and how it helped me. Basically, it kept me motivated. If I had a question, I could just go back to that because I don't remember everything. Who can? It also, when I was feeling out of focus or like the big picture was overwhelming me, I would go back to your book and look back, and I can actually see my progress because I don't remember, where I was. It was also nice to see patterns, like whether I tended to lose 0.2, 0.4, or what would happen after a 1 pound loss, and I would naturally have a smaller loss, things like that. Thank you so much. I have already seen the online printable version because I won your contest. So I've already got to use it, and I have my binder, and I love that I don't have to buy it again.
Okay, so now that we've discussed that, some of you may actually not be familiar with the workbook yet. So there are 6 main sections in the workbook. It's actually pretty hefty. So when it was a hard copy book, just to show you guys how hefty it was, this has 260 something pages. So it's not like the type of thing where there's like a couple tracking pages and one little coaching article, making like a little booklet. No, I spent months creating the content based on what I know you guys need from all of the different emails that I've gotten over the years. We tend to have a lot of the same problems and struggles with the diet. And so those issues would keep coming back up through email and personal messages. And so that's what I put answers to that and help for all of those things in the workbook. Section 1 is the guidance and coaching section. Now in this area, some of the things that we discuss are staying sane on the protocol, reality checks when it comes to how we do the protocol, what kind of weight loss to expect from a scientific perspective, what would be normal. We actually delve into like the logistics of that, which will do a lot for keeping you sane and on protocol. What to do about cheating and failures, stalls on the diet, why that happens, what to do about them, how to decide on an ultimate goal, what to do when you don't feel ready, tips on planning ahead so that you can be successful. In all, the real point of this section is to help you navigate through the many different problems and questions that often come up, unrelated to just like, oh, what can I eat and how much water should I drink? That's important too, and it's in there. But the guidance section is all about the other stuff, the emotional, mental, logistical stuff that's important to address, that often is, when not taken care of, leads to the cheating and the failure stuff. So this really helps you through that. Section 2 is the actual diet instructions from the original protocol, plus instructions regarding successful modifications that have been made to the protocol. And this is modifications that both myself and others have used pretty successfully. So when I see something that's used very frequently and over seems to be working well, I've included in there. I definitely differentiated what's original and what's modification. That way you can make an informed choice, but it has all of those details in there, shows you all about loading, phase 2, phase 3, and even talks about phase 4 a little bit, just to kind of give you an overview of about what you should be looking to do in each phase. We even have a little preloading, I guess you could call it a diet. It's a 1-week thing that I had done myself on a couple rounds that I found very useful. So I go into detail and how to do it. Section 3 is the quick glance progress tracking area. So this is an area that you will actually be writing stuff in or filling stuff in on your device. And this gives you an overview of your weight loss and your inch loss. And it even has a troubleshooting log. So this is kind of like a step back type view where you get to see overall how you're doing. And the reason that's important is because it's actually really easy to forget how far you've come. If you're just looking at the day-to-day, like we've got daily tracking pages, but if that's all you see is where you're at today and maybe where you were at yesterday, it can be easy on a day that you've had a stall to forget that you've lost 20 pounds from the start. You know, instead you're just focusing on that 0 that you're seeing that's glaring at you from the page. So, so that's so helpful about that, is really seeing your overall progress right at a glance. Section 4 is kind of the bulk of the book, and that's the daily tracking area. There's actually 9 weeks worth of daily tracking, so that kind of no matter how long a round you choose to do, you can kind of keep going and have tracking for as many days as you need. Now, if you're printing it, obviously, you could just print the number of days you're going to be on, and then you can save the paper. So the daily tracking area, that's where you're going to be spending the bulk of your time once you're on phase 2. There's so much here that you can track. As you can see, you track your weight, your dosage, if you're doing homeopathic, how many times a day you're dosing, the foods that you're eating, how many hours you sleep, if you take any medications. Some of these different things do play a role, like for instance, how many hours you sleep or what time you get up and then weigh yourself. Those types of things play a role in our weight loss, and so you might start to notice patterns by actually tracking those sorts of things. For instance, I didn't actually know this originally, but if you wake up at 7 and weigh yourself and then you go back to bed for say 2 hours and you get back up at 9, usually you're gonna weigh less at 9 o'clock. It's not really because you really weigh less, but just more fluids got processed in your body, you peed, and now you weigh less. So if you just want to feel good about yourself one day, or feel like you're making progress, sleep in a little later. Or if you get up early and it seems like, oh my gosh, I gained weight or I didn't lose hardly anything, just think to yourself like, oh, I got up early today versus yesterday I woke up at 9. So just knowing that helps you stay sane. Section 5 is the reflections and notes area. So again, with the printable and device version, you can either print it out or actually type in all sorts of notes in the Adobe Acrobat Reader app. So you have both options, but this is really an area to help you kind of journal your transformation. You don't have to write just about feelings. If you're not that kind of a person, you don't want to write about how you're feeling. You can also write down logistical, factual stuff, recipes that you find that you like, just different things that you want to note to yourself, that when you do your next round, you might be thinking like, oh, I'm going to remember this tip. Like, I'm going to remember that cinnamon on my salad during P2 is really good. And you know what? You're not going to remember it. So you got to write it down. And that's actually a true story. One of my rounds, I was desperate and I tried sauteed onions on lettuce with some vinegar, and some cinnamon, and you know what? I really did like it. Not sure if I would like it in regular life or not, but at that point, it tasted good. Section 6 is a section that not as many of us may use. I'm actually almost hoping some of us won't use it. It's the calorie count charts. It has all of the phase 2 protocol foods plus a number of off-protocol foods that many of us have used, and it has the calorie amounts for various serving sizes as well. So it's just a tool. You don't have to use it. I kind of encourage not getting overly focused on calories myself, but for some of us it's useful, so it's just there if you need it.
I used it beginning in P2 and really liked it, and I have to tell you that it requires you to be honest, because that's the way it's going to work best, is be honest with yourself and your portions and take care of all that business before you eat it, and that way you can go back and look at it and know what worked and what didn't work. I'm glad I invested in it, and it's a great tool, and I advise everybody that I coach to get one. Thanks so much for doing it.
Hi, my name is Sandy. I've lost 60 pounds on hCG. I've done it with this book. This has been my Bible, and I can't say enough good things about it. It has kept me motivated. I would prepare for my P3 phase. I would make sure I understood things. I would forget things through the program. I'd go back and reread things. They were motivational. I could keep all my tracking in one place. I could look at the week before and see if there was a change, what I did wrong. I couldn't have done it without this workbook, and I thank you so much for it.
So that's it. So when you purchase the hCG Diet Workbook, the digital version, first of all, you never have to buy it again, and you can use it over and over. You get 2 files, the printable version and the device version, yours to keep forever. And then as we discussed, there's the 6 sections to the workbook. We've talked about how that will help you. So anyway, I hope I explained that. That's as concise as I can get, you guys. So I'm not sure how long this ended up being, but I did my best, I promise. If you have any questions, feel free to email us. I say us because me, hCG Chica, is no longer just me. It's also my admin assistant, Lucille, and my other admin assistant, Jackie. This has gotten kind of big, and so I need help. And so they are very well versed in everything hCG Chica website and workbook and everything. So just email us, hcgchica@hcgchica.com, and we'll do our best to answer your questions, okay? All right, talk to you guys later. Bye.